All right, I just want to throw this out there real quick. Um, Now tomorrow we're having some work done here at the house. Some work that I'm not qualified to do, which some of that kind of stuff I do. But this is something I probably shouldn't mess around with. So I have to be here tomorrow, so I won't be going to work. So I'll make more videos tomorrow. Um, but right this minute, what I want to talk about is um, when people see, I try to put up real shit. And this is, I hate to keep saying this, but this is why I like the new videos Jay's been doing so much, Jay Cutler, is that he uses real life poundages. He's like 250-ish now, 250, 260, 250, somewhere in there. Still good size, but he uses real life poundages. He's not putting a bunch of shit on there just to throw weight around just because he can, just to show you guys, that he's Jay Cutler and he's big and he can move heavy weight. We all know that. I mean, you look at a guy like that, you know damn right well he can move weight. Now, if I were trying to get like as big as I once were, I have no intention of ever getting that big. I want to get a little bit bigger, but I'm not trying to like go balls to the wall, wide open, risk an injury, all that bullshit. Okay? Now, if you can't look at all this muscle, and none of this is any fake ass shit. This is blood, and I don't see why anybody would, why even have to even mention that. And none of it looks like it to me. It doesn't seem that odd to me that I can be this big. This seems pretty mediocre to me, to tell you the truth, for a guy that's been doing it this long. All right, you haven't been doing it this long. You haven't been doing this long. You've been doing other things, and you've had other priorities, and you didn't dedicate as much of, or you didn't place as much importance or significance on this the way that I have, even as my hobby. Maybe you do something else. But that's why I'm here. That's why I look like this, because how much I did put into it. And being that I was like so much larger, and there's pictures of me. This isn't anything I'm just fucking making, just throwing out there. But because I was so much larger, it's really not difficult to be this size. And in fact, I actually am trying to see how little I can do and be this size and maybe a little bit bigger. I just want to see how little can I do and still get pretty big. Now if I just wanted to get big and that was the only motivation, I would pull out the stops. I would do all kinds of stuff. But even with eating, just like I just added some carbs, and all of a sudden, my shoulders are blowing the fuck up, legs are growing faster, because the body was dying for this nutrition, for what I'm exposing it to and what it's trained to do all these years. What it's trained to do with that nutrition. Believe me, it knows what to do with it, and it was going hungry. So I'm even hesitant to eat too much, because that's not the healthiest thing in the world. To overeat like I did at one time, at my age today, that's not smart or healthy. To eat 6,500 calories a day, that's not smart, and it's not healthy. Not now. And I've seen even posts on the internet where people say, oh, if anybody even claims they're eating 5,000 calories a day, it's bullshit. No, you don't know what you're talking about is what that says. You're just flaunting your ignorance. Me eating 6,500 calories a day isn't difficult. It's not difficult. Now, if I had a job where, I don't know, I was a cop, or I was EMT, or I worked in a hospital, if I had to work where I couldn't drag food around everywhere with me, I was that much on the go from location to location or something, then yeah, it'd be real hard to do that. But for me to get 6,500 calories, I got a lot more than that when I was really, really big. And that was years ago, 10 years or better ago. But recently, this year, I was up to 6,500 calories. I showed you in the video, what I eat in the course of a week and how I food prep back then, earlier this year. Now, the only reason I aborted that is because I just woke up one day and said, what are you doing? You can't keep eating like this. This is hard on your digestive system. It's hard on, the internals of your body, your organs, and everything. It has to be. It has to be. If you rev a motor higher and higher all the time, and you're always running, heat kills engines. Okay, so I know what kills engines. Now, can the engine still do all that stuff? Sure, it'll do it. Sure, it'll do it. Do you know right away that you're hurting it? Nope, you don't know. But you'll pay the price later down the road. You won't get the longevity out of it that you otherwise might have been able to, or what have you. And I'm all about that today, you know. So I just, it's not worth it to me. So I woke up one day and said, what the fuck are you doing to yourself? You can't be this age and keep pounding this food, stuffing this food down your neck like that. You just can't. You can't do it. It's just not healthy. All that red meat, I was eating like, I don't know, 2 pounds of beef a day, you know, and what, a pound, 2 pounds of salmon, something like that. You can't do that. I mean, it's just, you guys can do that if you want to. When I was younger, I did more than that, you know. When I was younger, back in the day, when I would get ready for a show, like even when I did my first pro show, I everything I ate came from solid food. There were no supplements. It was all solid food because you couldn't take a chance on it, because even then, you know, we were always afraid that there'd be something in there that's not on the label. And guess what? I'm sure there was plenty of shit in there that's not on the label. And some stuff that was on the label that wasn't in there. So we never trusted that. You ate solid food. Solid food when you got ready for a show like that. If you didn't make it with your own 2 hands, you didn't eat it. And even then, you know, now things come to light, you still don't know what's in your food, really. You don't know what's in your fucking food. But it is what it is, and the whole point is, the things that I do, you have to also take into consideration that at my age, there are things I'm not going to do. And they're not crazy things that I'm not going to do. I'm definitely not going to do anything crazy, but I'm not doing anything I even consider remotely hazardous. Trust me on that. All the shit that I tell you that I do, I think's pretty safe. Pretty safe. Now you can think it's not, that's up to you. Don't do it then. Not suggesting somebody else follow along and do what I do. I'm not going to follow along and do what any other man does just because he does it. You understand? I mean, just put it out there for informational purposes. Yeah, this is how I do what I do. You know, you want to try it for yourself and see what you think, try it. You want to research it and learn more about it, do that. But this is how it's done. This is how I do it. But trust me, I don't do anything crazy. You know, so where I'm at right now, yeah, I want to see, I'm curious, you know, can I get it even bigger with doing very little? So, yeah, I'll add, you know, some more carbohydrates, eat more rice, and, you know, what's it, just shy of an extra 1,000 calories a day? Yeah, I can do that. But you know what? I probably won't even do that every single day. I'll do that with, like, I'll stagger the carbs. You know, I'll cycle the carbs. I'll do that maybe 2 days and then one off, and then 2 days and one off. And a one-off day will be a normal day as it was before I added that rice in. You know? It depends how I feel. If I walk around bloated or feeling bloated, I'm not even putting myself through that. I'm not gonna do that. There's too many things can happen in your digestive system at my age. I'm not fucking doing it. So when you guys see me working with these weights that I'm using, I'm showing you really what I do. Okay? Now, if I were still trying to be enormous, as big on stage as possible, and the biggest I could get on stage was 252. You know, I could have probably done better. I was just getting reasonable at it. I was just figuring the shit out, you know. But it wasn't for me, so I quit at that. But if I were trying to really go for that still, yeah, I would be a hell of a lot bigger, because I'd be eating for that, and I'd be lifting for that, and that's when you would see me throwing in a heavy iron. But knowing what I know today, I wouldn't have lifted as heavy as often as I did back then. Back then, I lifted heavy all the time, you know. I did isolation and shit, but I lifted heavy all the time. And, you know, that heavy weight had its place. It definitely made me dense. It gave me a lot of density, no question. And that's why guys do it. But today, you know, I'm not trying to be some kind of star fucking pro bodybuilder. I don't have any delusions of grandeur like that. I don't think that bodybuilding, you know, is the biggest, most important thing in my life by any means. It's a hobby. So I'm not going to take a chance on getting hurt. I already have injuries, but I'm in no pain. You know why? Because I wisen up. If I do something stupid or I do something careless, or I do something so long I just wear something out and I get injured, I'm not going to keep doing that to myself. I'll work around that or find a way to do it that I don't hurt it. I'll treat it. That's why I don't have chronic pains. Don't have chronic pains. And I designed my physique and my musculature around, ways that it can support any pre-existing injury once the injury's there, to strengthen that area up, like my spine. That's why I do so much back shit. But yeah, I can still move heavy weight. There's no fucking question I can still move heavy weight. Anybody that looks at me, you realize, if you see me in person, you look at me, you realize how much muscle I'm carrying. For sure I can move weight. But the other thing is, the more muscle that you get and the better acquainted you become with your musculature, and I'm well acquainted after all these years, I've been big a long time now, the more access you have to that muscle. That means the more I can isolate, the better I can isolate, the better control I have over contracting these muscles. So the back, for instance, is such a huge, complex and array of musculature, so many insertion points, that if I'm trying to make it as knotty and lumpy as possible, if I just go out there and do what most just normal guys in the gym do, put a ton of weight on shit and just sling it around, they look like they're trying to hurt themselves. And the only thing that saved them is their youth so far, right? But they'll eventually, they're going to be in for a rude awakening. Though I see older guys do the same stupid shit, but they're not really moving the weight anywhere. When they do that shit, I see guys even just doing dumbbell rows, and they're fucking not using their lats. You see it all the time. Guy will have 80-pound, 100-pound dumbbell, and he's trying to do dumbbell rows with it. He's moving the weight, but he's doing more of a half a curl. I'm waiting for him to tear a bicep. The way he's jerking it, he's not using his back, and he doesn't have any back. His back looks underdeveloped yet, like the rest of him. But yet he's using all this weight. Now, why the fuck does he need to use all this weight? Well, because when you cross a threshold and you get to the point, if he used like half, he'd be able to stimulate what he's trying to stimulate. Of course, he doesn't know what he's trying to stimulate because he hasn't tried that, so he doesn't know what that really feels like. He hasn't even developed the feel, and he's cheating himself out of the opportunity to. But half of that fucking weight, and just focused on reps, he could burn it in until he could absolutely feel the spot he's trying to hit. Then he would say, oh, that's how you get to that part of your back. That's what it's supposed to feel like. And then gradually, as you strengthen that up, you can increase weight without it spilling over into adjacent muscles and getting sloppy. When you put too much weight on something, you cross that line. Now you're no longer pulling with that little spot you're trying to pull or push with anymore. Now you're bringing in other stuff. You're recruiting other things. Now you've just made, even like with cables and things, now you've turned an isolation exercise into a compound exercise. Defeats the purpose. I don't know how many times, every time I'm in the gym, at least once or twice, I'll see a guy, and he'll be doing something on a cable crossover or something like that. And he'll have so much weight on there for him that he's turning it into a pressing exercise, or he's turning it into a compound exercise. He's using way too many muscles and joints and fucking leveraging off his bones and all kinds of crap just to move the weight. He thinks if he just moves the weight from A to B, that now that muscle's going to grow. Wrong. If he's using his entire strength of his body, even to leverage the way he stands and every other fucking thing, to push a weight, that's not a lot of weight anymore once you divide it over your whole body. Now, if I stand there and lean against nothing, and I move the same weight with, this much muscle, guess what happens to that muscle? That muscle becomes this big now instead of that big, that little piece. And if I do that redundantly over every little piece, every little section, that's how I get nice and knotty and lumpy. Yeah, that's how it works. So when I make these videos, I'm not doing it because I'm thinking of how cool do I look moving this little bit of weight. No, I'm showing you reality. And I'll tell you another thing. Selfishly, I'm there to train. I'm not there to make a video. Okay? So I try to make the video also, but first priority is training for me. I'm not going to waste my time in the gym. I have a full-time job and other things to do. So when I'm in there, I'm going to get my workout in. So what you're seeing is what it takes for me to get my workout in. All right? That weight not challenging to you, then I challenge you and say, you're not doing the exercise correctly. Number one. And maybe if you are, the next thing I'll say is, you're resting too long between sets. You're resting too long. You need to have intensity. Intensity. I'll tell you guys one more time. That muscle doesn't know how much that thing weighs. Doesn't know kilos, grams, pounds, ounces. It has no idea how much it weighs. It only knows the extent of the demand it's being placed on. The demand you're placing on it, that's what it knows. It's just going to try and fulfill the demand the best it can. And if it falls shy of it, then it has to adapt. Doesn't know pounds and kilos and ounces and grams. Doesn't know. Doesn't know numbers of reps. Doesn't know, oh, this is 8, 9, number 10. Okay, you can stop now. I'll grow from that. That was 10 reps. Okay, I'm satisfied. No. Doesn't know. Doesn't impress it at all. It only knows a thrashing. It only, and I'm not saying in a way that hurts your body, damages your body. Okay, but what does damage your body is recklessly slinging weight around. The more muscle you have, the more access you have to the muscle. If you don't have any muscle, okay, if you don't have any pecs, then in my opinion, stay the fuck off those cables. Now you need to do compound exercises. But once you have some muscle, you still need those compounds, but you need to start to isolate if you're trying to get some shape, if you're trying to really get some pop. Once you have a lot of muscle, and I mean a lot of muscle compared to anybody, you're in that category. Not a lot of muscle next to a guy that doesn't have any muscle, or a lot of muscle compared to what I used to look like. No, once you have a lot of muscle, then you don't need to really, you see how I lift, and I'll tell you what, I can still move a lot of weight. I can still move a lot of weight. And now some parts of your body are still strong. Traps are always going to be able to move weight even by themselves. And you know, your traps are split. The traps can still move a lot of weight. They go down the middle of your back even. They can still move a lot of weight. So when I'm doing traps, I'll use a whole stack, just pulling. And I'm not slinging, I'm not doing nothing, I'm just pulling with good control because I can't afford to get hurt. And you'll see me other times using far less weight. Now, if I can stand there and pull towards my face and pull the whole stack without jerking or hefting or slinging, just controlled, back and forth for like 20 reps, 25 reps, 30 reps, then believe me, when I get down there to do a lat pull down or something, I can do the whole stack and hang a plate off of it. Trust me. But what's that shit going to look like? Now, if I was trying to get to be 300 pounds, if I was trying to get literally as huge as I could possibly get, and I was eating like that, and I was doing everything I needed to do, then yeah, I might be doing some of that, and I'd still do some isolation shit if I was smart. But I'm not doing that anymore. I have enough muscle. You see the way I train, I still have all this muscle. I don't, man, the only thing that's held me back, to be honest, is the shoulder. Once the shoulder gets to where I can push more weight, then I'll move more weight. I'm still never going to go a lot, but you might see me pushing, flat benching 315. I don't really see the need to go heavier. Now, even when I benched well over 5 raw, I did it. You know what I mean? And it made me thick, but I think I could have delivered the same amount of stress, or the equivalent, with no rest or less rest, and higher reps and more feel, with continuous tension, with probably 315, and built the same density. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. Maybe we'll never get to test it because maybe I won't push that kind of weight ever again. Well, we'll see. But I do need to push a little bit more weight, make me a little more dense. So take that into consideration too. That I would push a little more weight. Certain exercises I would use more weight, free weight, if the shoulder was 100%. If the shoulder was 80%, I would. If it was 70%, I would. But it's not yet. It's getting there. I'm just able to start the bench again. And I'm seeing that work for me. So yeah, hopefully I'm going to be wise and not get carried away or overly enthused. because I don't need to push that much weight anymore. I'm looking to go to the Expo, the Arnold, and be maybe, I don't know, bigger than I am now, but a lot leaner. I'm not talking about losing muscle as I come down. I'll show you how to do that too. When I come down, saw how fast I was coming down before. When I come down, probably mid-December, December 15th is the date I'm setting theoretically. Between that and March, when I come down, I will lean the fuck down, and I'll be big. And I'll probably grow into it near the end a little. I'm not going to be ready to step on stage, but I'll tell you what, to most people, they're going to think that I could, because most people up close, they're not going to know the difference. They're going to see enough shit that they're going to say, fuck. You know, you could get on stage and compete with that. But really, at that level, no, I couldn't. But, but it is what it is. Anyway, all I'm saying is, for the doubters out there or whatever, and I mean, I don't care. I'm not out to prove anything. I don't give a shit. I've moved tons of weight in my day. I can still move weight if I want to right now, except that something could come apart. It's just not worth the risk to me. Why? When I'm making progress doing what I'm doing. But like I said, you go check out Jay's channel now that he's doing the videos he's doing now, and you see the weights he's using. And people won't believe it. You'll be like, what? Well, believe it. Look what he looks like. He looks awesome, and he's carrying more muscle than fucking who? Tons of guys. He looks huge. He looks like he's my fucking size, right? And his legs are probably bigger right now. I'm sure they are. His fucking hamstrings look enormous, even through sweatpants. But he isn't moving a ton of weight. You know why? Because the way he's moving the weight. The way he's moving it. And I keep telling you guys, and a lot of you guys, you get it. But some of you guys, you just don't get it through your head. And you know what? Unfortunately, that's going to show on your body. You guys are going to be the ones that are going to be getting bitter and jaded, because you're going to want to know, how come I can't make progress? They must be doing something really secretive. Or no, it's nothing secret. You know, plenty of us are telling you exactly how it's done, showing you. You don't want to accept it. Anyway, plenty of you guys get it, but you guys that don't get it, man, if you want to make progress, you need to get it. Now, sure, when you're young, you can do a lot of reckless shit and you're still going to get away with that. But eventually, if you really want to make refinements, a lot of big guys can't step on stage. A lot of big guys, they don't look good. They don't look good. They don't have that finishing, you know, to that refinement. And I'm telling you, that comes from, you know, all this cable shit and all this other stuff. And I'm just showing you for real. And older guys my age, you know, I love pushing heavyweight. It's a lot of fun. It's fun. It took me a long time to get over it. But, you know, when that growth hormone slacks off, and you can be an older guy and still be making enough growth hormone. It's totally individual. I'm not one of those guys, clearly. That's why I started having a rash of injuries. I didn't change anything. I was doing the same old shit I always did. Just all of a sudden shit started popping apart. And that's why. And I'm so hesitant to make changes and to actually do more of anything that, for whatever stupid reason, I'm still too stubborn to use growth hormone. And even just a replacement dose could spare me a lot of pain. I'm not in pain, but I'll bet you I would be much, much less likely to have any more injuries, you know, connective tissue related. But I think, why use growth hormone? It makes everything grow. There's a reason your body stops producing it eventually, I think. You know, I'm sure. So who knows? You know, who knows? All we can do, we're just men. All we can do is try and live our motherfucking life and make the best decisions we're capable of. They ain't always going to be the best. We can just try to make the best decisions. So that's it. You guys have an awesome night, and you know, I'll be around.